This is Short Pants Free Radio. Gamers, get your ears on because we're blowing the speakers out.
Grimdark Live. It is time for Grimdark Live. This show is for the nerds, the outcasts, the weirdos.
And for short pants gamers?
No, not you.
Ah, crap.
Get ready, all you Grimdark goons, for dice, dragons, demons, and a dwarf. Only right here on Grimdark Live.
Let's hit the fucking road!
Hey, welcome to Grimdark Live. Here we go, man. We got another show, and we're already starting out with some announcements that we're going to be getting to. So, welcome everyone. We got a great guest with us tonight. We got Joseph Venable. He's going to be with us, and we are going to be talking about his army Slaanesh. We're going to be studying that one here right from the start. So, Bill, how you doing, man? Welcome back from Mexico.
First and foremost, welcome to Age of Sigmar.
4th edition.
Outstanding start to today. Mexico's a lot of fun. Not a lot of Slaanesh down in Mexico unless you count the red light.
The Donkey Show?
Donkey Show, for sure.
The Donkey Show, that's right.
That's a mean thing to say about the DNC.
Exactly. Are you jealous, Joseph, that you didn't partake in the Donkey Show? They're all down in Mexico?
What are you talking about? I host my own donkey shows out here.
That's right. You know what? I forgot about that. Dustin, what's going on, bud? You ready for another show?
I am ready.
Groovy. Very cool.
Sounds super confident. Yosef, freak him out.
Very cool.
He already did that Sunday, so.
That is absolutely right. Camille.
Hello.
How are you? We got Camille.
I'm off camera. I'm production today. Production with nice tits.
Yeah, she's that is exactly why she's off camera.
Really leaning into Slaanesh there.
That's right. Really leaning into the whole Slaanesh thing.
What are we talking about here?
We are going to be getting her a camera here very soon. Promise you. So
I'm gonna set a crab clause.
Exactly right. So here's our first one, man. We got a great announcement coming. We got November Nightmare that's going to be happening in November the 23rd. It's going to be a single day tournament that's going to host both 40K and Age of Sigmar at the VFW post 5877 in Lockport, Illinois. And we're going to be out there for that whole day. It's going to be 3 games, split room, 40K on one side, Age of Sigmar on the other side, and that's what we're going to be doing. And it's going to be a good time. It's going to be for another charity. Of course, that's what all of our events are nowadays. Are all charity, and this one's going to 100% of the proceeds are going to go to the VFW. Guys, what do you think? You guys ready? You guys signed up?
Oh yeah, ready.
I'm
ready
signed
to
up.
rock and roll.
Very cool. What? Anyone got any ideas what armies are playing? You want to give it away now? Because I know Joseph's probably going to be with the perverts, right, Joseph?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a couple lists in the workshop. I think I found my favorite. That's where we're running.
Very cool. Bill, what are your thoughts, man?
I got a super custom army. I'm kit bashing right now. You guys will see it on the table come November.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's really the only announcement we have right now. I mean, anything else that you guys know about, you're either getting from Warhammer community, and if you can stay awake long enough through Slaphead and Booger Boy, you'll probably hear whatever the hell they have to say, which is somewhere between 2 flies fucking and paint drying. But
Exciting times.
Very exciting times. But we're going to be right back with the start of the show. We've kind of stumbled over our dicks on this one, but here we go. We're right back.
I think I messed up. No, really, I forgot to tell you about the most epic dating site for Stormcast Eternals. Tired of your dates summoning chaos instead of romance? We've got just the thing for you. Introducing SigmaDates.com, the only dating site where Stormcast Eternals can find their perfect match without the chaos. No more awkward dinners with Chaos Warriors or surprise demon invasions, just pure Stormforged love. Our algorithm is blessed by Sigmar himself. So, whether you're a Lord Celestant or a humble liberator, you'll find someone who shares your quest for glory. Swipe right to connect with fellow heroes, and swipe left to keep the chaos at bay. Join SigmaDates.com today and let your love life ascend to the heavens. Because when it comes to love, you deserve a date without chaos. ready to forge your destiny. Sign up now and may Sigmar bless your love life. Sigmardates.com, where epic love stories begin.
All right, here we are, folks. Age of Sigmar 4.0. We're on the cusp of reviewing a pretty cool Slaanesh list, and we're going to get this thing rolling. But Joseph, last week we kind of started out a couple of topics. We were talking about 4.0. We started talking about our thoughts on where the game is now, and you've gotten a handful of games in, quite possibly probably more games than any one of us right now. What are your thoughts on 4.0 as we sit right now as a game?
Yeah, as of right now, third edition was intrinsically, I think, a lot more complicated of a system. There was a lot more going on. There was a lot more rules diversity. Right now, they've kind of streamlined everything. So as I get more and more games in, I'm teaching myself to overthink less and just kind of really lean into the fundamentals that everybody else is leaning into, which I think overall has been a good experience for everyone. We all feel like we're playing the same game, and I think that we haven't really been able to say that the same way until right now. So I'm liking it so far. I have a good time with it.
Good. I mean, I think that's one of the nuances, or one of the things that we were talking about last week were the nuances. And, to be honest with you, I wasn't really sure what your thoughts were on what are some of the things you like about the game currently, and what are some of the things that you don't care for as far as the game is concerned.
So from a Slaanesh perspective, I've always been playing this army, and I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years, and I've always been in the minority of players that shows up to a tournament. So I've usually had the benefit of people haven't played against me before. They don't necessarily know what I do. Yeah. I explain it, but they don't have that baseline experience that you might have with other armies. That was something I could take advantage of. That, I think, in a lot of ways for most armies is kind of gone. And I have a love-hate relationship with that. On the positive side, I kind of like the fact that we're all playing the same game, that we all kind of have a better baseline understanding of rules that we all share. But at the same time, I kind of like that. I miss that mystery factor, and I miss
that is an excellent point to make.
Nuance and the complexity.
Most people are not used to getting railed from behind by Slaanesh. That is something that was very common, especially with Slicks, which just comes straight across the map
forward,
and sail right
left,
into you.
right, everywhere.
I'm telling you.
A lot of it is, but I'm sure, Joseph, that's one of the appealing things you have for the army. You really enjoy that whole railing thing, don't you?
Railing, reading, everything.
Upside down, all around. He's in, he's down. He's boogieing.
Well, good stuff. Well, so you got a little bit of a list you're going to be going through us today. Actually, it's a pretty competitive list. I mean, we on Sunday you had a game against our big red right here, Dustin, and he's still kind of. Well, Dustin, how do you feel about that? I mean, that was a pretty good fight. But I mean, how was the game? Let's talk about it a little bit. You were playing Camille's Daughters of Cain, and I was kidding. So you were playing your Daughters of Cain. He looked a little offended there. I thought for sure he was going to reach over and slap me.
Reach over the table.
Look,
a little bit around there. Huh?
I mean, that being my second game playing Daughters of Cain entirely, I made a bunch of mistakes, some tactical errors, and my dice being what they are, I don't think I made a single armor save or ward save that game. But that said, Joseph is. You're very, very good with that army. I mean, it's a scalpel army, and you used it very, very well. And you was it turn 4 you tabled me, I think.
It was around turn 4, and just barely. I had also lost a lot of units.
Yeah, but he was able to pull it off, 25 to 23.
Pull it out. What?
Yeah, that's how close it was. I was ahead in points the majority of the game, but then turn 4 I had no models left, so he was able to capitalize on.
Now, do you guys night hunt real quick?
Yes.
Right. Now, when you guys were playing that game, I don't remember this. Do you guys use any of the tournament rules where you play solitary at that point, or is it just you have no models left the game? How did you guys end the game at that point when you had no models left? Was it during round 4 or was it before round 4?
It was at some point. I think it was at some point during round 4. I don't remember exactly, but
it was round 4, and we ended up talking it out because I had wiped out all of the bow snakes, the melee snakes, and I think all you had left was
Add some witch elves and 2 characters.
Witch elves, which, to your credit, you did have some excellent movement shenanigans there that you could have taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But I was able to find a battle tactic that I was able to secure, not round 4, but in round 5.
In round 5, yeah.
Early, that tipped me over to victory by about 2 or 3 victory points.
Yeah, it was 3
close.
points. Or, no, 2 points. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very good game, despite, tactical errors. But we played, it was Star Strike, which is always kind of a, unpredictable game because you're deploying and you don't even know where the objective is going to be.
Right.
And then 2 more show up and you don't know where those are going to be either. So that's always kind of challenging.
Sure. I mean, and let me go back something real quick. I want to skip back to something here that's happening on the chats. We got the a comment here on the 4th edition, and that's coming from Haroon himself, man. They said, I'm going to read this verbatim. They said they stripped the game so far back that it has lost its identity. I'm waiting for the bloat to return and the game to come back. It's become a Deihire, D-E-I-H-I-R-E. I don't know what that means.
All I heard was strip and come.
Well, that's it. So, but my point is, I mean, I don't. So, all right, Bill, I got to throw this over to you. I mean, Haroon, I don't know if you're kidding or not, man, but and I don't know what that last word is, but
what he's describing is the loss of the flavor for the custom rules for each army, which I understand. It was fun, but the problem with most Americans is they don't read. You're like, here's a nice rule book, and I go, fuck that, I'm not going to play with that.
Sure.
So
okay.
If it comes to somebody just kind of talking it out, that's more people style. Somebody reads part of this one and that one, and you kind of hodgepodge it together. So eventually, I think they are going to get back to rule bloat. I mean, what's the next book coming out right now? Skaven? Yeah?
Skaven and Stormcast.
Skaven and Stormcast. So, the Sigmarines, of course, are going to have a rule book that's going to have a decent amount of bloat to it to start with, as is the Skaven. Well, to be perfectly frank, probably the armies that have the least amount of rule bloat moving forward or get the last of the books will probably be at the top of the meta. Just because it's simple to play. Half of the problem is forgetting your own rules.
Yes. And I do agree with that statement, though, is we're playing the game at its most basic bare bones.
Right.
So 100% as every book comes out, we're going to get more flavor. We're going to get more interesting rules. I mean, I was kind of bummed with the sub-factions for Darzakane. First of all, everyone only gets 1 rule for the sub-faction. That's it.
Right.
But also, like,
Beast of Chaos didn't get it.
One of the things I always liked about Darzakane is the sub-factions were the different temples that were represented. And in this one, instead of Calibron Temple, it's Shadow Patrol. I mean, that kind of bothered me.
I don't know if that's what. I don't necessarily that's what Haroon
coming
is.
After Paw Patrol.
Yes, Paw Patrol.
They did shave it back. I think the one thing that I would. I don't know if this is what Haroon is really referring to, but I think the one thing that when we weren't able to take allies anymore.
Oh yes.
I mean, when has there ever been an army in the history of real life or even fantasy that didn't have allies?
Well, that's when I actually got out of Cities, is when I got rid of the Coalition. That was my favorite part about Cities of Sigmar, was the Coalition units where you could take a little bit of everything. It made sense.
Yes. So, as far as flavor that way, yeah.
On the side I can't even use right now. I'm so sad.
Yeah. What did you used to use as far as Coalition or allies, Joseph?
Not much. You know what? I used more allies in 2nd edition. I remember I went to, I think it was up in Detroit. Or Lansing. I went up to a tournament there with you guys and brought in that whole conversion project that I did for Sons of Behemoth.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of that, I've pretty much been a purist most of the time.
Sure. And to answer this other thing, Shane Galvin, when is this show about nobblers? Shane, every fucking show is about nobblers. I was really hoping that you were a better listener, somebody that really understood what the Grimdark Live experience was. And where there is nobblers, there is life, and there is this show. So, Shane, I'm really glad that you're with us tonight. But Dustin, where do you keep your nobblers?
That's the real question, isn't it?
That's the real question.
That's
not the Nobbler shirt, is it? No, that's not.
It's not the Nobbler shirt.
No.
I'll have to wear it next week.
No. Joe, any comment at all on Nobblers?
We don't spill secrets about Nobblers.
That's why we don't do that.
They steal your 13mm sockets, your 10mm sockets, and they always move your wrench.
Sons of bitches. But yeah, I don't know.
Don't I keep my Nobblers?
Joseph, this
We're
is
gonna
a
find
this is
out
a family
later in the
show.
show.
I don't know if you should even divulge where the hell you keep your
Production
nobblers.
says no.
As a small,
Production just
as
said
a
no.
Small green hand reaches out from behind his beard.
Camille, you want to talk about nobblers at all? No. She whispered that one. She was actually very, very, very. Nobblers go on the top shelf. Ken, somebody give Ken, a prize. Ken, you're getting a prize, man. You're absolutely right. I hope that was a compliment.
So what we need to do out of all the goon shirts, we need to come up with his first.
That's
That
right.
would make perfect trophies for any of the tournaments we hold, especially charity tournaments.
Just nobblers.
It's a little
the
golden
golden
knobbler.
the
statue.
golden knobbler.
They got the golden,
golden
demon,
knobbler.
We got
The golden
knobbler.
knobbler. So we
Nah, screw that. We got the
Instead of
bronze
the orc
knobbler.
head?
Nobblers are not gold. We got the
Yeah.
bronze knobbler.
bronze.
The tin.
The tin.
The tin knobbler.
The brass knobbler.
That's right. That's right.
So for Brawl in the Hall, should we come up with a knobbler award?
I think, you know what? And you know what we can do? Maybe if we get a little knobbler trophy, and each erection that the knobbler has, the longer the erection, the better the person did. We could. I mean, we could have.
He's holding one
we
dick
could-
for first place.
Wait,
The other dick for second place. And he's
Wait,
holding all
Camille's
three
going
for
to
all of them.
demonstrate. There you go. That's first place.
10, 9, 8.
I am replacing my
We're good with 3-2.
homunculi
Three is
with
plenty of
Knoblars.
trophy. 3 is plenty of trophy. That's all you need to have
We said
fun.
it last
A
episode.
3 is trophy.
That's right. That's right. So there we go. I think Dustin and Camille just came up with the idea. We're going to have nobblers with erections as trophies for Brawl in the Hall. I know that's going to make Steve very happy because he often.
It's gonna make Joseph happy.
Well, Joseph is already happy. I mean, look at him right now. He's about ready to turn his camera off and have a little private time.
Oh, boy.
You can't do it to us, Joseph. We got to talk about Slaanesh.
Here we go. Good
We know you got that Asian hooker behind that backboard.
I was going to say, what is up with that? That's the total. Like, what is that? That's some groovy shit, man. That's a nice back.
Before we get too far into it, www.sigmarsingles.com. There's going to be a back pages section that actually Joseph will be the moderator for.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Lord.
So whether you want an escort, a hand rub, a
You
trans
see,
rub, whatever
I
the case may
have
be,
all of
Joseph
the
Venables, your man.
degeneracy is behind here, but I like to feng shui with a little bit of harmony,
Yes. The feng shui of nobblers.
That's a weird way to describe an upside down suck off. But
where
all
do you
right.
keep your nobblers? In strategic places so that your feng shui is all balanced.
That I don't. You shouldn't talk like that.
Okay, I won't.
That's the little. What you said feng shui, didn't you? Is that what you heard?
You don't want to know what I heard.
I don't know. I don't want to know what you heard.
Okay.
But that's kind of the warm up here, man. That's kind of the warm up here. We're talking about Slaanesh here coming up real soon. We're going to get into a little bit more of the game between Joseph and Dustin, and we're going to go through the list, and we're going to be right back with the main topic. Stick around.
I think I messed up, but it's hilarious. Noblar selling propane to Sigmarites? You got to see this. Welcome to Noblar Gas and Grill, the only place where a greenskin can sell propane and propane accessories to a Sigmarite. Picture this, a Noblar, barely taller than a halfling's boot, explaining the wonders of propane to a towering Stormcast Eternal. Why use magic when you can use propane, says the Noblar, waving a tiny tank around. The Sigmarite just stares, probably thinking, is this real life or a glitch in the realm of Shemot? These Noblars are relentless. Propane is perfect for grilling your dragon steaks. Need to torch some chaos cultists? Propane's got your back. The Sigmarites might be skeptical, but hey, even they can't resist a good BBQ. So next time you're in the mortal realms, remember, for all your grilling and grilling adjacent needs, Noblar Gas and Grill has got you covered. Propane, it's not just for mortals, it's a Noblar thing.
All right, we are definitely back, and we're going to be talking about, we're actually going to be getting into our main topic here tonight. That's going to be going into the list review for Slaanesh. And you know what's funny is when we talk about this army, this army is really, of all the Chaos Gods, and of course everybody I'm sure is very familiar with, the different Chaos Gods. We got Khorne, we got Nurgle. Personally, I think Nurgle has some of the best story arc, some of the best background. I think Tzeentch is a little, I think Khorne is pretty one-dimensional. But you know what? Yeah, but you know what cracks me up about really about Slaanesh here, and this is what really cracks me up mostly about Slaanesh is the fact that they're this army of excess, right? Everyone talks about, and they immediately go to the pervert thing. Now, I don't know if it's the hermaphrodite thing. I don't know if it's the fact that they're all just a bunch of chicks with dicks running around with whips. I don't really know if that's really the whole thing about it. But I'm wondering, but if you think about it, in their lore, they're excess, so it's anything, drugs,
Excess of everything,
sex, whatever it is. But Joseph is going to explain to us why we immediately go to the pervert. Everyone got quiet on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's the most fun.
Would you care to expound on that one?
No.
Lots of wisdom. No, it requires no more explanation. He has said all that needs to be said. It's fun.
Right.
The ultimate titty twister from one of those crab claws.
That's it. But I mean,
Grab his dick and twist
but I
it.
think it's funny how like you can take
I
corn.
almost showed up here in my gimp suit. You wouldn't have even seen my face.
You know what? That would have made for a lot better show.
You know what? Probably.
Joseph, what do you think?
But I mean, let's think about this though. Every other Chaos God, and I'm being serious here for a second. Every other Chaos God has their standard platitude story, right? Korn is going to kill you. Nurgle's going to give you a cough. Zeech is going to lie to you, but
Maybe lie to you.
possibly. But the fact of the matter is, Slaanesh, you can really take that into 20 different directions. We talk about excess and everything else, but we seem to dial in on the pervert thing. And I won't tell the story again about the one Slaanesh army I saw back in 7th edition of Adepticon.
Boy.
I won't tell that one again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But the point is that they just seem to get stuck on that. And I think it's funny how, I guess, the army is a bunch of, like I said, a bunch of chicks with dicks. So I think it's one of those things. But what was one of the things that drew you to the army, Joseph? What got you to a point where you said, you know what, these hermaphrodites are for me?
I mean, it's very personality fitting if you know.
Number one, it was the aesthetic of the models. There's a lot of very cool like metallics and decoration. The kind of vaguely Persian theme of it was very interesting to me. But then kind of the other part of it too, and this is why I think Slaanesh is actually the most powerful Chaos God, is like you look at the other three and all the things that they do. And if you enjoy doing those things just a little too much, now you're in the realm of Slaanesh because you like that shit too much, you know? And that's kind of where like Slaanesh is all encompassing.
But is that just at the end of the day a Tzeentch trick where they make you think you like it, but realistically you're just going off the deep end and he's sitting over there watching you filming it like P. Diddy in the mansion?
Okay, Mr. Nietzsche.
Mr. Nietzsche. What a reference.
But what's funny is Slaanesh being as close to an elf army as you could get. Elf armies traditionally are pretty finesse. I mean, that playing Daughters of Cain. Yeah. I'm sure there's people out there, Idoneth Deepkin players and Lumineth Realm Lord players. I don't know that I like Lumineth Realm Lord players. Usually I really don't.
They really mimic the type
my
of
first love in this hobby
Yeah.
was Idoneth Deepkin. I love that army, and it is an elf army, and Slaanesh really is the elf army of chaos, for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think there's interesting things about this type of an army. This Slaanesh is really, and Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably one of the top tier finesse armies. You're going to get out there and you're going to do great things, but it's very unforgiving. Am I looking into this army that way? Am I looking into it wrong? For every bad thing that happens to you, it could cost you two. Rather, you know what I mean? I think what I'm trying to say is that you're going to pay for your mistakes. Is that accurate to say with this army?
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing this army since 2nd edition, and regardless of what edition we're in or how the rules change or fluctuate, that's always true. Like, you will pay for your mistakes. You have to play this very carefully, and you have to pick your battles and know that you can win those engagements when they happen.
Sure. So is calling it a finesse army, is that accurate to you?
Yeah, no, it's super accurate. I love finesse. It's a challenge to me. I'm a Johnny player out of the three. Like first and foremost, that's what's appealing about it to me, for sure.
Right. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I'm not going to give away the goods right now, Joseph, but you've got a list that's pretty interesting, and there's a character in this list, or I should say a unit, a character in this list that you've kind of brought to the forefront, and I know you're going to refer to it as this people sleeping on this thing. And after seeing you play a couple of games with this particular unit, I think you're really onto something. And I think that's what people are going to see here. Here very shortly. But that's kind of my high level view of what Slaanesh is and isn't. But Joseph, what are some things about the army that are really alluring to you that you are really favorable on, and what are some things that, and maybe you don't know this yet this early in 4th edition, but what are some things that you would like to see improved with the army moving forward before we get into your list?
So the big thing about the army that I want to see improved, and I do have a pretty developed answer on this, like 4th edition, I initially stepped away from Slaanesh for a second because I took a look at the battle trait of the army, which is, like, if you guys are familiar with it, it's excess of depravity and euphoric killers, right? In order for me to play with myself, and that felt very 2nd edition to me, and I had a very viscerally negative reaction to it at the outset. But upon further inspection and reflection, like, it's kind of grown into me. I get it. I can see the benefit to it, and with careful play, I can make it work to my favor most of the time. So that was like the frustrating point, but I think some of the neutral rules that everybody has access to in 4th edition play into Slaanesh very well, to the degree that the army is much greater than the sum of its parts. And the strength of it is really in the War Scrolls. A lot of the other elements are accents to what you're already trying to do, but your War Scrolls are your bread and butter.
Sure. Now, that being said, then, what is your best matchup? What is your worst matchup with Slaanesh right now?
Good question.
Yeah, my I don't know what my best matchup is yet. I haven't played against everything, but, like, so far my worst matchup is probably Stormcast. Like, any army that can get into my face in the first round and deprive me of the ability to kind of dictate the ebb and flow of the battle.
Where you're going to go, yeah.
Well,
now, is that because I haven't had a chance to play Stormcast yet. Is that because they drop in on you, or is it basically dragons flying in? Are a lot of people playing dragons, or is it mostly infantry now?
You know what? They drop in. It's not so much dragons as much as it's a lot of the infantry, but they drop in. They get into you turn 1, and now all of a sudden you're kind of in a box you don't want to.
So now that being said, what would be the easiest way to mitigate that? Would you just have a better like expand out for your actual deployment? Do you have any movement shenanigans? Now the cool thing about for instance, the where you could spend the command point, basically redeploy at the end of their entire movement phase. Would that be something that could help you? Is there a good screening you can use in Slaanesh to add in to kind of mitigate the problems with Stormcast?
Twin Souls, 100% Twin Souls.
Twin Souls? So
yeah,
you just basically got to get the manifestation cast off and call it a day?
Heavy metal chaff unit in the army, bar none. It's fantastic. It does that job very well.
Gotcha.
They're a scary anti-charge unit.
Nice.
They have, what, 4 attacks each, and then it's 5 up ward if they get charged?
You're looking at 41 attacks in a reinforced unit, and if they get charged, 5 up ward and -1 to the melee attacks of the unit hitting it.
Yeah, that's scary.
So you mentioned Stormcast, which I guess Stormcast, that's the flagship army. So GW is going to make sure that they're a little bit ahead of everyone. I mean, it's funny when AOS 1 first came out. Remember when the Get Started box came out,
the days before
with the
points.
Bloodbound and the AOS in it. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen an army get screw job more than the Chaos Army, the Bloodbound, or the all the Reavers? Remember that? I mean, we didn't hear anything from them till almost AOS 3.
Yeah.
And it was just but anyway, I digress on that point. But Joseph, you mentioned Stormcast. That's pretty interesting. Did you mention Stormcast out of personal experience? Or is this something maybe, I don't know if you're on other Discords or Slaanesh or other Facebook pages with other Slaanesh perverts?
Facebook pages all the time with people with the different complaints for all that stuff.
Right. Are you talking from your own personal experience, or are you getting this from just associations with other perverts?
He's at the Lions Den on I-80. That's where he gets his best information.
Yeah, it really all comes from a personal experience.
What do you guys want?
Jumpsuit
and Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Stormcast is never
hey, Joseph, you were saying it all comes from personal experience.
That's right, it comes from personal experience. Yes.
The core of that army has always been putting half of it up in the air and then putting it down wherever you want it to be in that moment. And that has always been an intrinsically difficult thing for Slaanesh to deal with, because it's like, what do we have? Speed. Speed is awesome until somebody puts you in a box that you don't want to be in, and you can struggle to get out of it. Like, it's possible, it's just challenging.
Yeah. So like, one of the comments that are on the chats here, Joseph, I don't know if you can see them yourself, but Haroon made another comment here. He says Slaanesh is a castle army with fast scouts. Now, that may be accurate, but I've never, as playing against them often, I haven't seen that personally, and I'm not sure that's how you play them, but talk a little bit of that. Talk to the accuracy or what you feel about that comment there. Does that describe Slaanesh?
I would say that was not true for most of their existence, but especially with the way that I am approaching the army now, that's very true. And it's not the only valid way that you could play the army, but it's the way that I've leaned into because it allows me to go 5 rounds.
Got it.
Your first turn on our game on Sunday, you very much castled up and gave me the first turn, so I had to kind of get board control, and in the end, that helped you out a lot. Because
I
wasn't able to
of the army to play at a slower tempo.
Yeah.
To kind of slowly win the game over 5 rounds, because it's like the way that command points work now, or not command points, but victory points specifically, you can get a lot in a single turn that will bring you over the top and overcome a severe disadvantage in points. So you can afford to play that slower tempo, and that's very exciting to me.
That is a good point to make as well. You can basically give up a couple points in the beginning of the game if it means you start to table wipe them and then pick up on the back end.
Yeah, I see. And I would think, too, that, and again, Haroon, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but, castling this army, I mean, the average save, right, the composite average save of your army, Joseph, is 5+, correct? I would think that kind of defeats the purpose of being a castle army. Am I not accurate on that?
It's actually 4. If you're running Twin Souls, your base save is 4. If you're running Gludos, your base save is 4.
Hey, speaking of which,
is at a 3-up.
I got a weird question about Gludos. How do you feel about the fact they modeled Gludos after J.B. Pritzker? I always found that kind of weird. It's like they're from England. It's like, how did they even get a picture of them?
I was going to say.
I was gonna do a conversion project of that with a couple toilets sitting around when he pulled out of his house.
A castle army, you have a nice mansion. It's got one toilet for the whole mansion in the castle.
Right. Maybe his objective markers could just be shitters he puts all over the floor, or all over the table.
Who brought Nurgle here now? It's the Pritzker army.
That's funny. Well, let's get into this. Let's start looking at this army, because I definitely want to get into the list and talk a little bit about that, and maybe use a backdrop of your game on Sunday against Dustin. So here you go, man. Here's the list as we see it right now, and I got to be honest with you. I've seen this list in action, folks. I've seen it both at a war meet on Saturday and then again on Sunday, and the list is pretty darn good. I think you've cracked a couple of codes and a couple of question marks with Slaanesh here, Joseph, that I think that a lot of people, both people that are genuine perverts like yourself and people that are fighting against the perverts, would really like to hear about. But let's go ahead and get started. So this is your Grand Alliance Chaos Hedonites of Slaanesh Supreme Sybarites list. You got 2 drops in this sucker. Your spell lore is a lore of extravagance. Your manifestation lore is morbid conjuration. So let's start right from the top. I mean, let's go right from there and kind of give us a rundown of that first. How did you come up with, obviously, the morbid conjuration? Obviously, that there's a philosophy behind that. And let's talk about some of your heroes. Let's hear about some of that.
Sure. So to jump into the list, right, I think we have to really start with the battle trait and the way that it functions, right? In order for me to take units at the beginning of every single round and make them euphoric killers, the benefit of that is that when you pick a friendly Sybarite unit to be the euphoric killer, and you can pick up to 3, right? Those units' weapon characteristics, both melee and ranged, get crit 2 hits.
Oh, that's nasty.
And then the unit can also run and shoot and charge. You can do everything with that, right? That's amazing. Really good. The cost of it, though, is that you have to give your opponents dice, right? That's going to be between 1 and 3 automatic 6s, right? That, if you just give them 1, it can only apply to a save roll, a wound roll, and one other. I think it's a hit roll. So it's very limited usage. But I think
it was specifically not hit rolls. It was wound, save, and something else. I don't remember.
It's the point is though with that one dice, it's kind of negligible. It's not that big of a difference. Where you start running into the risk is when you give your opponents 2 or more, because then they can take 2 of those 6s and turn that into a charge.
Oh, that was the last one.
Counter charge. So when you're building a list with Slaanesh and you want to use that battle trait, you have to be very mindful of that. That like you are giving your opponent a very powerful benefit.
Assuming your opponent remembers to use it.
Yeah. I think the way around this really, and some people like this, some people hate this. I love it. Is really leaning into the range. Slaanesh Blizzbarb archers are one of the few units that still maintain their range from 3rd edition. So you're looking at 18 inches. What that means is, like, for example, in your first turn, you could give your opponent 3 dice if you want to, and you can buff all 3 of your ranged units to have crit 2 hits. And if you know for a fact that they're not going to get into you even with those dice in the first turn, you've just juiced up all of your shooting and you can do a lot of damage really early. I think with that in mind, keeping that in the back of your skull, when you're building a list and going forward with it, you're trying to play a slower game. You want to do some damage before you get into melee. Soften the targets up and then crack them and keep going.
It almost seems like with that strategy, you want to leave your twins out there to kind of entice them to do the charge, and then have all your archers in the back line ready to just blast into them.
Send in the twinks, baby. You got them today.
Terrible baseball team. Excellent Warhammer unit.
Exactly. So let's keep going on the let's go on the characters. But I really want to touch on. I know I'm hedging this on you because I think it's one of your more brilliant pieces. Is let's talk about Gludos. I mean, you've used him, and I honestly, I mean, I don't know.
Pretty much since the model came out.
Since the model came out, and I don't see, like you were right, Joseph. I don't see a lot of Slaanesh players using this army. I don't see it in battle reports. I don't see it in tournaments. So why everyone's sleeping on Gludos? Talk to us.
Yeah, so when it comes to Gludos specifically, he came out at the beginning of 3rd edition. He was part of the new range of Mortal Slaanesh units that came out right before that book dropped. And it's not that he was never terrible, but he was always overcosted. He ended up not doing a lot of the things that you wanted him to do. He only counted his 2 models. His spell casting wasn't that great. Now I think it's a completely different conversation. I've always personally, he's my favorite model in the army, bar none. He was a week and a half long paint project for me. Everything is magnetized. So
go ahead. What were you saying, bud?
Space for it in 3rd edition.
Oh,
now he's a tank. He is an 18 wound tank with a 4-up save and a 5-up ward that is healing himself for 6 at the bottom of every single.
No, he's nasty.
Yeah,
and it's not just him, isn't it? Any Cyberite unit can be used?
Yes. If you don't need to heal him, you could pick any Cyberite unit. I've used him to heal Sigwald. He's another named character that I put in my list.
You know, that Castle Army Scouts comment makes a lot more sense.
And he also has a wholly within 12-inch bubble. Over the course of 5 rounds, you get a variety of different benefits that help you in different turns. 4+, everything's getting +1 to hit and wound, I believe. He's excellent. Like, he does everything that I need him to do. He counts as 5 models. He's a 2-cast wizard where I have a way through my terrain feature in the army of giving him a +1 to cast for D3 mortal wounds in exchange that I can just heal at the bottom.
Heals later, yeah.
Yeah, he's built to function with that terrain feature. He's excellent.
Now, does he only primarily works for Sybarites, not the demons, correct?
You know what? I think that you could probably make a case for him in any list for Slaanesh, possibly, but like he's designed to work with
mortals
more specifically. And specifically, just to correct myself, Battle Round 4+, you're looking at add 1 to the Ren characteristic of units' melee weapons while they're wholly within 12 of him. So like Battle Round 4+, you're just tearing through things, and he counts for himself.
Wow.
Right.
As a Daughters of Cain player, I like stacking bonuses. But yeah, that's kind of what he does, is just stack bonuses as a centerpiece that doesn't die.
Yeah, that healing every round is what makes him almost invaluable.
Yeah.
And I think
and
that's the
he's
thing.
not invulnerable. You want to be careful with him. If you send, I have lost games because I've sent him in way too early, took too much damage. But like, if you really kind of piece your opponent up before you get into your selective melee engagements, he's going to tear things apart and just go right through and keep going.
Yeah, I think for the most part, when you look at his point cost, right, 470 points. I mean, I just off the top of my head, Be'lakor is, I think, 460. I'd be ashamed of myself. I play the freaking army, and I can't. All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, but for what Be'lakor does or doesn't do, versus what Gludos does, I would say that maybe going on a stretch here. I mean, Be'lakor does something really great for a little while until it's the top of your next turn. Gludos keeps doing his shit for the whole game.
The whole game.
So I really think, in comparison to Be'lakor, what is it, 410?
410 for Be'lakor.
Yeah, all right. So for an extra 60 points, I would pay that. If I could,
yeah, without doubt.
I mean, absolutely.
If you could do the Be'lakor deal similar to what Gludos does
buffs.
for
Sure.
turn, without doubt.
Sure, I would do that.
I think that there are other things in the army that could probably go down, but I think Gludos is appropriately costed for what he does. I have no qualms about paying that price.
Yeah.
So you got your Lord of Pain. He's 160 points. He's running around. He's got the icon of infinite excess. That just sounds like a dildo. See, there I go.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Diamond studded. Diamond studded.
I could make that out of green stuff. We could make this happen.
Joseph,
you're gonna cause me to tell the 7th edition fantasy battle story.
Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg. And
Ghost.
Yeah. That's what that reminds me of.
A diamond studded dildo.
That's
what I think you downloaded the wrong movie.
Maybe. The problem is when you're doing research to build the back pages so he can monitor it. You go down some rabbit holes.
What is it? Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar. Oh, sorry. SigmarSingles.com. Check it out, guys.
There'll be a commercial on that one later. But okay, so and he also got Into the Fray. So talk to us a little bit about the Lord of Pain.
Sure. So I'm on the fence
mother-in-law.
about which one of the unnamed characters that I want to run. I think a lot of the strength of Slaanesh overall is in Gludos. It's in Sigvald. It's in Shalaxi Hellbane. It's in your named characters that can't take these traits. And to be fair and honest about it, a lot of them don't seem to be very good. If you put them on a Keeper of Secrets, I think that's where you're going to get a lot of your benefit from. But like the Lord of Pain specifically, when he is contesting an objective, he is juicing the effectiveness of all of the melee abilities of Sybarite units wholly within 12 of him. So if all he has to do is sit there, and you're getting a lot of value out of him. The heroic trait is really nothing to talk about. It's if this unit charged this turn and the unmodified charge roll is an 8+, this unit has strike burst for the rest of the turn.
You're talking about Into the Fray? Are you talking about Into the Fray?
You're not getting a lot of value out of that.
Okay.
The icon of infinite excess, on the other hand, right, is once per battle, right? Any combat phase, add 1 to the attacks characteristics of the target unit's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. So if I want to pick a unit of Twin Souls and give them 5 attacks per guy,
nasty,
I can do that once per battle. And if I really need that to crack through something, I can use it.
I'm not a huge fan of once per battle things, but those are the kind of once per battle things I like, where it's like, all right, I need this to happen right now to delete a unit off the board. That's a good use of a once per battle.
What we have available
thing, yeah.
So I guess I'm not following you. Are you saying that the Into the Fray thing is just not something that you're really, do you not use it? Do you not care for it? I mean, do you just, what is it? Did I misunderstand what you just said?
I think if you put it on a Keeper of Secrets, it's a different conversation. But the Lord of Pain, you're not bringing the Lord of Pain to get into combat. You're bringing the Lord of Pain to sit on an objective and juice everything around him.
Okay.
Very similarly to Gludos.
Well, let's talk about then your next character here. We got Sigvald, the Prince of Slaanesh, 260 points. Would that Into the Fray? Would that be better on him?
He can't take it because he's a name character.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's
now,
right.
The new
that's
lore
right.
behind Sigvald too is very.
I shouldn't drink during the show.
Ruined. Turn it off. Cancel the stream.
Sorry, Bill. Sorry.
I'm out, going home.
I wish I could take it on Sigvald.
Dude, Sigvald is your boy. Like,
hey, does Sigvald still have those?
I've been running Sigvald since 2nd edition.
Since the model came out, man.
Yeah, but does Sigvald still have those assless chaps?
Back in Lurid Haze days of 2nd edition,
Still has assless chaps.
Pop him out of the sky and send him into some crap and blow things up. That was fun, but then he just die immediately.
They're nice and gold. Uses only
the
top
value
notch
from Sigvald now is that I think he is the best counter charger.
Yes.
He has 5 attacks base. That can only increase if your charge is larger than 5. I've rolled 6, I've rolled 8, I've rolled 11s and 12s, and he just gets exponentially better. And like, yes, did he lose the generic built-in +3 to his charge? Sure, that's not there anymore. That kind of sucks. But what we have now is countercharge. That's a generic rule that everybody has. But if you use it with Sigvald and he gets in off that countercharge, he's striking first. Right? So whatever you just put in his face is probably going to die before it gets to do anything if I get that charge off.
Especially because he ignores wards.
Sure.
Yeah.
As a Darzarkane player, that hurts me.
He's an incredible piece of counterplay that I will defend in my list every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And back on the chats, we got Raul Thomas back with us, man. Raul, long time no chat, brother. It's good to see you back listening to the show, and welcome to the evening of perverts. I know that you probably feel right at home with that. So I'm looking at your list here, Joseph, and I just caught up to something because I've been drinking. This is a different list than you played on Sunday and on Saturday because your Seekers. I'm not seeing Seekers in this list.
There's one unit. Bottom of the first regiment.
Yep.
Seekers. Now okay, I see what you were talking, then this is where I got confused with this. Okay, there it is, right. So you were saying that with your Seekers, in after Sunday's game, you were talking about maybe dumping the Seekers for another unit of archers. Are you going back on that now, or give me the theory behind that, or is it really interchangeable depending on who you're playing at the store?
I think I need to give the list a try with possibly a reinforced unit of Bliss Barbs, just because it's always nice to have 20 shooters that you can put all out attack on and just go ham with it. What I like about Seekers is that they are inexpensive, light cavalry that move very quickly
right.
and get onto an objective. Specifically, if I need to take the flanks, that's a guilt-free unit that I'm sending off to the side of the board to go do that thing.
Yeah, that's a good turn one.
Yeah, and I like that. But on the other hand, the shooting is just so potent in this army where I kind of go back and forth on, like, my shooting could get there eventually, and I could do a lot of damage with it without having to risk putting it in combat and losing it. Where, like, that's the risk with Seekers, is that you will probably lose them in combat. So I'm back and forth, but I see value either way. I don't really think there's a wrong decision. There's just a more right decision depending on the circumstance.
Yeah, I think if you were to keep them in your army, though, you are going to be able to get maybe that first turn objective, that first turn battle tactic.
Good screen unit.
Good screen unit. But here's the other thing, too. If you rush it, what is their movement? 10, 12 inches? What is their movement?
12 inches, and they can, I believe it's 2d6 when they run.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
Your opponent has to deal with them.
Yep.
If they have to get on an objective, your opponent has no choice. They got to deal with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I think their opponent.
New rule is when you make a run roll for this unit, if you roll a 1 through 3, it's an automatic 4.
Right. Bill, say that one more time.
So the point of it being there as well now, let's say he zooms across the board, gets a nice 20-inch charge or 20-inch run something. He's on an objective. They have to divert units away, and then he can run right on back.
That's
or
exactly
run across
right.
And get another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say that in my
hex race, if you will.
In my humble opinion, I would say you'd almost want to keep the Seekers in there because, I think you have enough shooting.
For sure. Yeah. The 3 units of Bliss Barb Archers are, I think that's baseline for the army. Not to knock other styles and lists. I think there's lots of viability in this tone, but the shooting is just too good to pass up.
Sure.
So at 18 inches, come on. What are we talking about here?
What are we talking about?
What the hell are we talking about? So, this is I got to be honest with you. I like the way that this list works. This list answers a lot of questions. It checks a lot of boxes. And again, I don't really see much after seeing it played twice in person. Once against me, where you beat the hell out of me pretty good with it. I would venture to say that it's a pretty solid list. I don't know that there'd be a lot in there that I would necessarily change. I mean, with those Blitzbarb archers getting an 18-inch shot, you're getting 12-inch movements with 2d6 on a run with the Seekers. Gludos is a madman, and I look at this a little bit deeper here. Sigvald is running around with his assless chaps on, just countercharging everybody.
It's a multi-threat army. They're at least that's something I always have to kind of deal with
right.
Darzakane is okay. What is the biggest threat that I have to delete?
Yeah,
and that was one of the problems. Is everything was dangerous.
Sure.
So that makes target priority. Yes, danger zone. It makes target priority hard because it's like, right, well, I would say the weakest, so-called weakest unit would be the archers, but I'm going to get shot to pieces by the time I get there.
Right.
Meanwhile, you have the amazing countercharge units of the Twin Souls and Sigvald, and it's hard to deal with because
and even Gludos. That guy's moving 8 inches.
Yeah.
If you countercharge Gludos in, and all of a sudden you've got this 18 wound tank that you have to deal with that you didn't expect, he's a problem too.
Right. We got a question here in the chats for you, Joseph.
I was gonna say, I see it right here from the original Underboob Tickler himself, Sean. What does the artifact and the command trait do? What are you guys laughing at?
Wait, good. Hold on, time out. Everyone, hold on. Before you answer that, Joseph, Bill,
there's no crying in baseball.
Please reintroduce Sean's. Please do that again.
The original Underboob Tickler himself, Sean. He would like to know what the artifact and command trait do, as would I.
Please help the Underboob Tickler.
What, the artifact and the command trait?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Just a second. Let me pull it up. That's on my Lord of Pain.
Jeez, I hope he's talking about the rules.
Well, the command trait is the if you roll an unmodified 8 to charge, you strike first.
Yeah.
But I don't think you talked about the icon.
That's very circumstantial. The icon of infinite success, I think just has a lot more general value that you don't have to think as much about, and it's not as conditional. But the icon of infinite excess. Pick a non-hero Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within 12 of this unit to be the target. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of that target's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. That's going straight on my Twin Souls to give them 51 attacks.
Is that the once per battle?
That is the once per battle.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. That's really good.
I hear that right. 51 attacks.
Yep, 51 attacks, -1 Ren, 1 damage each.
So,
circumstantially speaking, then if you do absolutely need to delete something, that's when it's valuable.
Yeah. Now those would be 51 attacks. What by what?
Aren't they threes by fours? I think
that's what I'm asking. Are they 3s by 3s, 3s by 4s?
They are 3s by 4s, and you could potentially, with some of the other benefits in the army, get that to 2s by 3s.
Are there any critical mortals on it or anything like that goes along with it? And what's their
if I give them euphoric, there are.
Jesus. And what's their damage output per hit or per wound?
It's 1 damage apiece, but you're swinging with so many attacks that it's just death by a million paper cuts.
Jeez.
Putting Darzakane to shame over here.
Yeah, well,
yeah, but Darzakane are a hard counter to this army as well, because you have that strike first ability that just they have to soften you up with shooting before I get into you with melee.
Oh yeah, Joseph did not like the crystal touch ability, where it's, hey, if I roll over your wounds, you strike last now.
Right. I was surprised that he didn't like any kind of a touch.
Yeah, you got the touch. I'm dying.
It wasn't a tug. It was a touch.
Wait, Camille, say it one more time in the mic.
It wasn't a tug. It was a touch. That's why he didn't like it.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Half the game is not the full game.
I did not like that Midas prostate exam.
Well, you should have told him to use a finger, not a ball bat. Jeez.
Jesus.
Don't use the icon of infinite excess for your prostate exam.
He already has.
It's not going to go well for you.
Could you see him walking into the proctologist's office? Oh, doctor, I brought my own tools today.
That's right. He walks in with a drink, bottoms up. No, seriously.
I'm here for a good time. This is covered by insurance. I'm going to have fun.
So, all right, Joseph, we're starting to wrap up the topic here on this awesome list and talking about Slaanesh here. Give us some closing thoughts on the Army, and are you going to stick with this list for a little while, or do you got some tweaks that you're looking to do, and if so, what are some of your plans? I mean, I think you're checking just about all the boxes you can on this list, but is there more that you can do?
I've gotten to the point now where I'm comfortable with the list. I don't want to change anything about it. I just have to play it. I just have to play with everything. And see that.
You're talking about your miniatures, aren't you?
Upside down, brother.
Yeah, I got to play against a variety of different armies, see how it adjusts to those myriad of challenges, and just kind of adapt my play style. And that's where I'm at with the Army now, where it's like I'm confident in what it's doing. I'm confident in what I think I can do with it. It's just meeting all of those different challenges and adapting to the situation as it happens. And
Sure.
I'm just going to get better and better and better at that.
Nice. Very, very cool. Joseph, I love the Army, man, and you're a hell of a player with them. As far as perverts go, you're one of the best. And we're going to be right back. We're wrapping up the show here, so stick around. We got some good stuff ahead.
I don't think people understand the courage it takes to embrace who you truly are, especially in the face of eternity. In the Age of Sigmar, we Stormcast Eternals are reborn to fight for the light, but even in our immortal armor, some battles are fought within. Coming out as a gay Stormcast Eternal isn't just about bravery on the battlefield, it's about courage in the soul. Embracing who you are in all your divine glory transforms you into a true warrior. Remember, Sigmar's light shines on us all, and it's brightest when we are true to ourselves. Each resurrection is a chance to stand tall, not just as a hero of the realms, but as the hero of your own story. So take up your hammer, lift your head high, and let your heart guide you, for in the end, the strongest warriors are those who embrace their true selves. You are not alone. You are a Stormcast Eternal.
All right, we are definitely back, and we're going to be wrapping up the show here. We had a great list review with Joseph Venable and his Slaanesh Army. Joseph, thanks again for being with us, man, and thanks for kind of sharing kind of the high-low of the Army. That was some damn good stuff.
I love tickling everybody's fancy, you know?
We're really appreciative of the splash screen you put below you there, because even though we're in a basement very, very far away, we know you can still get us.
You know what? And there's something tantalizing about that thought that he could come get us.
Titillating, even.
Titillating. Good word. Well, what's on the horizon? You got any tournaments or anything coming up, Joseph? You looking at playing in? You got anything coming up besides November Nightmare, I hope?
You know what? November Nightmare, and I'd love to go to St. Louis next year. Like, a lot of my big tournaments, I feel like
that would be fun.
I'm in a place now where I'm comfortable. I want to hit Adepticon. I want to go to St. Louis. I want to maybe do Dragon's Fall, maybe Holy Havoc next year if I can get off the waiting list this time. You know.
To all the fans out there as well, we are looking for a Grimdark bus. So if you've got a deal, please email us at sigmarsingles.com or sign up for the newsletter where we get in contact with you, because we are trying to put together a team bus where you can see this whole goon gang driving around, hitting all the tournaments.
We will soon have the G-Wagon.
G-Wagon.
Here pretty soon, and we will be coming to a neighborhood to leave the toilet seats up and, well, knock up a lot of other people.
Just don't trust the ice cream Joseph sells out of the back.
No. Those are not natural popsicles.
Yeah.
Come on,
custom
guys.
cones, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. No, the custard, don't eat it at all. All right, guys, I want to thank you all very much for being with us tonight. Joseph, you are one of the best perverts anyone ever put in a gimp suit. I got to be honest with you, buddy.
Always good seeing you,
No,
Fat. We'll
thanks
have
for
a
having me, guys. This is
suppository
fun.
for you Saturday. Until next time.
All right, guys, good night.
Grimdark Live would like to thank you for slumming it through another show with us for all things dice, dragons, demons, and a dwarf in the Warhammer worlds. We'll be back again real soon, so till then, roll them dice, fun and fair, and don't be a frickin' short pants. You can get your Grimdark Live fix on our live show or catch us on our Grimdark Live podcast. Never fear, gang. There'll be more great content from Grimdark Live coming to you each and every week. So stay tuned and stay grim, all you dice-chucking, glue-sniffing gamer goons. You're all awesome.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Remember to embrace the main message here on Grimdark Live, and that's a social contract we have between gamers and the commitment we have to each other in this community. We're only as good as our last game. Check us out at grimdarklive.com, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, and recommend Grimdark Live to your friends. So long, Grimdark Goons. Until next time, may the dice gods bless you and your sweaty palms. Bye.